City take on Palace in an FA Cup final that I don't think anyone would have predicted at the start of the season. Considering how Palace started the season, if you remember, everyone said, oh, Glasner's charm has worn off. And obviously Man City have had the season that they've had. If City win the FA Cup this year, do you think it compensates for a bad season? Which, by the way, is a fascinating conversation because this man doesn't think it does. It doesn't think it works that way for Arsenal. So I'll be interested to hear what you say.
Yeah, it does. It does, for sure. Trophies are everything in football. And clubs' ambitions at the beginning of the season is to win trophies. And the FA Cup, if you're to rank trophies for City, it'd probably go Champions League, then Premier League, and then FA Cup. And obviously Premier League, they've been way off of it. In the Champions League, they got turned over by Real Madrid. So this is the next best thing. And if they manage to finish third and win the Premier League, then they can chalk the season off as being a bad one and come again next season. If they lose the FA Cup final, having lost the FA Cup final last year, it will just leave a sour taste in the mouth of City fans because they are a big club. They expect to win trophies year in and year out. And I think City fans can swallow having a poor league season if it comes with silverware. But if you lose the FA Cup final after losing last year's one to Manchester United, I think City fans will find that a little bit more difficult to stomach.
Also, considering the opposition is Crystal Palace, that would feel like a failure. But we obviously just spoke about Arsenal, and if Arsenal were to win the FA Cup, that probably wouldn't be enough for Arteta to be forgiven for his season. Guardiola obviously has much more credit in the bank. But if City were to not win the FA Cup, finish third or fourth in the league, is that disaster, but an FA Cup makes it a good season?
I don't think it's disaster because I think as long as they get in the Champions League, it's hard to categorise it as disaster. But I think when you look at the standards that they've set over recent years, treble winners, 100 points, all the things that they've achieved, then going potless would be a big deal. And it would be something that is really highly scrutinised. Pep Guardiola's got a lot of excuses, if you like, as well. You can look back at this season and say he's been without key players at key times. But there has been a massive drop-off. I don't think all of their recruitment has worked in the way that he hoped. And there's been a bit of natural turnover in the squad with some players getting to a stage in their careers where they're no longer as effective as they once were. But I think if he does go on and win the FA Cup, it gives the fans something to just enjoy at the end of the season. They've won so many trophies recently. I don't think they're going to be calling it a resounding success. But you could make the case that they've had a better season than Arsenal. You know, Arsenal went further in the Champions League, of course, but if City end up with a piece of silverware and in the Champions League 1 or 2 places behind, nobody's going to care about that. The history books don't tell you about the place that you finished. They only care about the silverware. That's it.
And you can relate that to Manchester United season in 2023, where under Eric Ten Hag, that's the season, by the way, they got smashed 7-0 by Liverpool at Anfield. Man United finished third and won the Carabao Cup. And when you look back on that in history, even though Arsenal challenged in the league, people say Man United had a better season. We all watched it. We know they didn't. But when you win a trophy, it kind of leaves a better taste in your mouth than if you don't. And so I think City will know that this is the last dance for some of these City legends as well. Ederson will not be there next season. Kevin De Bruyne, obviously, we know is confirmed is not going to be there next season. And so I think they'll want to go out on a high. And they take on a plucky Palace side that caused City problems at the Etihad. They went 2-0 up. They were, an inch away from going 3-0 up. Obviously, City come back in that game, courtesy of Kevin De Bruyne, and they win it, and that's probably why they're in position in the league right now. But Palace are good. Palace are good and one of the most informed sides in the country, so it won't be easy for City.
I'll come back to Palace in a second. So looking at the matchups, and I think Palace are probably well matched against City and probably have the tools to hurt City like they've already proven this season. But for City, they have a big Champions League game too. Sorry, a big game in the race for the Champions League. We get there in the end on Tuesday. What's more important? Like if he starts his first 11, they lose the FA Cup final, and then they're shattered for the game on Tuesday against Bournemouth, and they don't perform. City fans are probably going to be asking questions.
I think he's got the benefit of the kind of look. It's a final, man. It's a final, and a final gives you clarity.
But surely, like, a lot of people, if I was to ask 100 people who's going to win this final, 95 are going to say City. So they're already probably odds on to win this final. A little bit of rotation probably won't kill them.
It probably won't, but I don't know if I would take that risk in a cup final. I think you've seen Crystal Palace match up against some of the better sides, as you've said. I think they got a really good system, Crystal Palace. They got a lot of players that fit into that really nicely. They've got players that can hurt you. Eze's been in unbelievable form. Mateta's had a great season. You look at people like Sarr even chipping in with a Wembley goal in the semi-final. So I think for Pep Guardiola, the fact that it's a final provides you with clarity. And I don't think that when you have a final on the horizon, you're as likely to be kind of caught in between the rock and the hard place. I think you know very clearly what you need to do in that game, and you're able to park the next game because of how significant this one is. If you've got 2 league games, let's say you were away to Ipswich Town and then you play Bournemouth on the Tuesday, then maybe there you look at the Ipswich game and you go, maybe we rotate a little bit, and that could prove your undoing. I think the fact it's a final, the fact it's against a good Palace side, there's clarity there for City.
As for Palace, third attempt at an FA Cup glory. Apparently they haven't won a trophy, but I'm telling you, their cabinet has trophies inside it that just don't count, apparently.
They don't.
They count. In my mind, they count. It's their third attempt.
Standards.
FA Cup
Where are
glory.
your standards? It's been a common theme today.
Yeah.
I was trying to back the underdog, trying to give some props. They take on this City team, and like I said, I think matchup-wise, they're in a good place. Eze, obviously, like H has said, is in great form. Comes against Nunes and Diaz on that side, who I think all season have been, I wouldn't say poor, but they've just not been at it for City, and City generally haven't been at it. Where do you think Palace can take advantage of City?
Their wing backs, like the way the system's set up, Munoz and Mitchell on the other side, they are absolutely lethal. Again, this is not a great barometer because Spurs are rubbish, but Palace could have scored at least 15 goals in that game. It was all coming from the wide players of Crystal Palace, and not necessarily the wide forwards. It was their wing backs just getting forward. And if Tyreek Mitchell could finish, he could have had 15 goals this season. And Munoz has been such a big threat. When you talk about fullbacks maybe going to bigger clubs that need players in that position, that play 3 at the back, looking at you, Manchester United, you could do a lot worse than Munoz. He's a very, very good player. So I think that's where they can hurt Man City out wide. And you look at their talisman in Eze, who has really stepped up this season in big moments and scored some important goals. Great goal in the FA Cup semi-final, great celebration as well. There's a potential that he leaves this summer. I think he probably does. He's got a release clause. And so he will want to go out with a bang, and to do it against a team like Man City on the biggest domestic stage when it comes to cup finals, I think that he's going to be the talisman. And if anything does come good for Palace in this game, it will come through either their wing backs or Eberici Eze.
It's odd because City's problems this season have actually been in central areas. They've been a soft touch in the middle. So often when you sort of match a team up against City, you go, if they've got legs in midfield, they'll probably win the game. Palace don't ever really play the ball in central areas. They do rely on the width. They tend to move the ball from left to right really well. It reminds me of in terms of how they switch the ball, like an early version of Jurgen Klopp's, like Trent and Robertson, where they'd be so high and wide that it means the opposition fullbacks or midfielders have to get out there. And I have worried all season about Foden's work rate, and obviously Omar Mamouche is he wants to attack, he doesn't want to come back. So that front 3 or front 4 are going to do no legwork coming back, leaving you with Kovacic and Bernardo covering in wide areas. I think, like I said, I've said a few times now, the matchup is pretty healthy for Palace to go and get something.
Yeah, I think the fullbacks are a big thing. There's no doubt about that. I watched Munoz in the semi-final especially going up and down, up and down. And even when they were winning the game, there were times where I was looking at him late on and going, what are you doing? Why are you making that run? Just sit back, stay in your shape, make it a back 5, see the game out. My worry for Palace, though, is that where they've got this kind of real emphasis on those wide players and they will push them up and they use them as a big attacking weapon, they're going to leave themselves with a back 3. Mm-hmm. And we know that City have got quality, and City don't need loads of chances, man. And so I worry a little bit that if Palace fall into the trap of, bombing those 2 on constantly all the time, and City can then get into those wide areas and pull that back 3 apart, they can create spaces for the likes of Bernardo, De Bruyne and Foden to operate in those half spaces, the areas that those players really like. So I think you can flip the match up the other way. I think you can talk about Palace's threat going forward, but I think it could be a vulnerability of theirs as well. All
right, let's get score predictions. H, I'll start with you this time.
Crystal Palace 0, Manchester City 1. I'd love to see Palace do it.
H is on a negative one.
I just feel like that's the way this season's gone. I would love Palace to win it. I've got a soft spot for Crystal Palace. I've said it over and over again. I just can't see him doing it. I'd love them to, but I think City edge it.
I agree with your sentiment. Palace seems like everybody's second team. Everyone wants Palace to do well. I think City just edge it. In extra time, though, I'll go City 2, Palace 1.
I've got a feeling Palace are going to do it.
Oh, that'd be amazing.
Yeah, and I think the season needs something like that. Something like that is on its way, probably starting with Newcastle beating Arsenal. And then I think Palace will beat City in extra time 2-1.